today, author Grace Fox has a new book, Names of God Living Unafraid. And she's here today and she's going to share with us how we can overcome fear when we learn the meaning and rely on the truth of the 7 biblical names of God. So, welcome, Grace. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's a joy to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about your book, Names of God. And you've written it really in a devotional study, and I love that. So let's start off with the important question of why did God manifest himself by specific names in Old Testament times?
Yeah, in our lives, it's hard to trust a stranger. I'm not going to just open the door to somebody I don't know, and I'm certainly not going to open my heart to somebody who is a stranger to me. And so, God, in the spiritual realm, He's like saying, I want you to trust me. I don't want to be a stranger to you. I want relationship with you. So I'm going to show you what I'm like through these names. Back in Old Testament times, a name wasn't just a tag of identification by which somebody was known, but it also is an indicator of that person's character. And so that's what God is doing by revealing himself through names, is showing us what he's like so we can trust him.
That's so good. And so tell us a little bit more about that. Like, what difference does understanding these names make in our lives?
Yeah, understanding the names of God really, to me, it's like having a diamond. So I have a friend who's getting married this Sunday, and she's, just had to go get her diamond ring fixed and a size to her. And I'm thinking this beautiful ring has all these facets on it, and every facet reflects the light. And that's how I think of God and his names. Every name is like a facet on the diamond, and that facet reflects an aspect of his character so that we can come to understand him. So Yahweh Yireh he is our provider. What does that mean? It means that he will look after our physical needs, but he'll also look after the needs that we have for, say, wisdom and for strength and for creativity for our work and patience as a parent. All of these things we need. He is our provider. That's just one facet on that beautiful, priceless diamond of who he is.
I love looking at it that way because I was explaining to you before we started today when reading your book and relating it to this fear that I have right now of heights, this newfound fear apparently, and really understanding how big God is and actually who he is, right? His character and how much he's even with us. A lot of times we don't think, oh, I don't need to take that fear to God. But when we see all these names and how they describe the character of God, it really shows us who he is and how much he really does care about all of them. So why did you choose to focus on the 7 specific names of God highlighted in your book?
Yeah, this is exciting for me, Emily, because this is actually a 3-book contract. And so I'm currently writing the second one. So each book will have 7 names, and that still doesn't cover all the names of God in the Bible. So 21 names. We're just scratching the surface. But I started with these 7 because I have experienced God by these names, and they really have helped to move me from being bound up in fear to being free from that fear. And I'll refer to Yahweh Yireh again in that he's our provider. So my husband and I have been career missionaries for over 30 years, living on faith support without a guaranteed monthly income. And we raised our 3 children like that. And when I think back on early on when we just started raising support, I was scared to death. Like at the end of every month, we were working at a camp, and I would run down the stairs from our apartment to the office to check the mailbox to see if the check was in the mail yet, because I wanted to know if we had enough money to buy groceries that month. And really, it took years to overcome fear like that. I mean, it was paralyzing for me, but to get beyond that fear by understanding that God is my provider. He is, and he's provided, he's promised to provide because that's his character. He's never going to change. And so when I really began to understand him by that name, that fear left. It's just gone. I don't even know how else to describe it. But But understanding God by those names sets us free to live unafraid.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. What an incredible story to watch, how we really can uh, be free from our fears. And in your book, you write about one of the most familiar names of God, Yahweh Rohi, the Lord is my shepherd. So, what sets this name apart from the others?
It's so familiar. We all know it. It's probably the best loved name around the world. And I like to take it apart when I'm speaking with an audience. I say, let's do this exercise. So it's like looking at every single word in that name, the. We just blow past the word the and think it's there's nothing significant about it. But in this name, it implies that there is only one Lord who is our shepherd, only one. Let's not look anywhere else. Lord, that implies the creator of the universe. He is big. He is in charge. He's the one who knows us through and through, and nothing is impossible for him. This is the one who's our shepherd and totally trustworthy. The Lord is a present tense verb. That means he's a present tense God. It's not that he was our shepherd, but he isn't anymore, or that he will be when he gets around to it. He is our shepherd right now, in the moment, every moment. And then the Lord is my implies relationship. So whereas the psalmist talked about God as a refuge or a rock or a fortress, those are all good and they're all true. But this one implies relationship. And then shepherd, there's a lot involved with a shepherd's role for his sheep. Everything about the shepherd's reputation depends on the well-being of his sheep. And this is how God cares for us. And wow, is that ever freeing when we begin to understand the fullness of what that name is all about in our everyday life? The Lord is my shepherd. I have everything I need.
That's amazing. And that's only one name. So if you want more information on Grace's book, Names of God, you can go to 700club.ca. Thank you so much for joining us today, Grace.
Thank you, Emily.